I went in this fish and chip shop. I says to a woman that served me, I want some chips and a fish, but I don't want the one I call FIFA. She says, why? I says, because it's with batter. I don't like batter. Captain at ship happened to notice one of brothers at lifeboat had been disturbed, so he pulled it further back. And there's a young lassie laid on the back looking up at him. He says, and who are you? She says, I'm Margarita Smith. What are you doing in this boat, Margarita Smith? I'm stowing away to Australia. How long have you been in the boat, Margarita Smith? 10 days. What have you done for food, Margarita Smith? Well, your first mate's kept bringing me some. What have you done for payment, Margarita Smith? Well, he's had me. He says he has had you. This is Isle of Man Ferry. Now this young lad was at bus stop with his grandad. And his grandad says to him, he says, I think God, when we get off bus, if driving outside over you, I'll tell him you're 4. I'm 5, that is, says, I know you're 5, but don't tell him. Anyway, they gets off bus, shows his bus pass, his grandad sits down, and his driver says, how old are you? He says, 4. So he went and sat with his grandad, and when they're getting off at bus, the driver says to him, you're a big lad, you, for 4. He says, when will you be 5? He said, when I've got off at bus. Now this bloke, he was telling his mate, he says, does I know what I get? I wish I could get rid of him, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, why don't I go and see Archie? He does out like that. He said, I'll tell you something, he'll do it for next to no, because he can't stand women. So he went to see Archie, and he told him, he said, he says, so he said, how much does I charge Archie? He said, give us a quid. He said, I want some detail, like, he says, well, she's not very tall. He says, and she's in Asda every day at 4 o'clock, don't put the watch on with you. He says, right. So he says, he was in Asda anyway, and he saw her come in. He said, right, she'll have a red coat on and a red hat. And he saw her. Bang on 4 o'clock. So I went in, and he watched her while she went down one of the aisles with nobody in. And he went straight up to her and choked her. Anyway, when he turned around, there's a woman been watching, and so I went straight up to her and he said to her. Next morning, this bloke went to see Artie. He said, I'm sorry, Artie, but they're on to thee. He said, what's I mean on to me? He said, I've got rid of evidence. He said, I'm telling thee. He said, well, what makes you so sure? He says, there's notice outside Asda. He says, artichokes 2 for a quid. Anyway, this bloke went up in butcher's shop. He said, how old am I? He says, 70. He says, I'm 83. He went in post office. He says, how old am I? 72, 83. He was stood in this bus shelter, and it was dark, and Raymond, this woman, he says to her, he says, how old am I? And she took him somewhere private for 5 minutes. Then she says, you're 83. He says, how did you know? She says, I had to tell him at post office. Now Simon, not the Simon, Simon and his uncle were in a car crash. Uncle got killed and Simon lost both his legs. So what they did before they buried his uncle, they decided to take his legs off and put them on Simon. 12 months after, he went to Stars in Your Eyes. They wheeled him on in a wheelchair. Matthew Kelly says, and what you been doing? Told him. He said, oh, that's sad. He said, I don't know, Matthew. I'm hoping to be walking in 12 months. Oh, lovely, he says. And who are you going to be tonight, Simon? He says, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Simon and half uncle. Now this bloke was coming home in his car at early hours of the morning, was falling asleep, so I had to stop. So I pulled up outside George and Dragon. He went and banged on the door, light come on upstairs, 2 minutes, then it went off and it come on downstairs. And this woman bobbed her head round the corner at the door. She'd a cig hanging down in her mouth, smoke coming out in her nostrils and curlers in. She said, what you want? He says, is George in? Now this bloke, he lived out in Wales. We've been retired 10 years. He never saw anybody. One day there was a tap up door and he went rushing. He says, visitor, you open the door, there's nobody there, only a big snail up the doorstep. He said, could you give me a drink of water, please? Well, he was that mad, he picked it up straight as far as he could. 3 weeks after, tap on the door, went running again. Opened the door, there's nobody there, only this same snail. And he looked up at him. He says, There were no need for that. Now this bloke, he knocked at this door, and this young lad opened the door, he was only about 10 years old, and he had a candle lighter in one hand and a cigar in the other. And this bloke says to him, he says, is your mother and father in? He said, does it look like it? Anyway, I'd like to finish with this message. Cheryl, have you heard about that manager at Gents Taylor's? He finished because it was impossible to suit everybody.